Hey, Mike, this is Jim Gillis with Win My Vote. And thanks so much for getting back to me so quickly. And sorry about kind of the random approach. I use your candidacy in a demo for our site. So when I saw you on LinkedIn, I made the connection and reached out real quickly. Um, but that was the nature of it. So sorry if it seemed kind of random here. Let me get rid of this. So I'll give you a quick little introduction. I'm from San Francisco. So is my wife. She went to the Kennedy School. We're good friends with David Chu and Phil Ting, and so we're knee deep in politics and local politics for years. And I think it was 2014. Joanna Reese ran for mayor, and I met her like a week before the election. I had no idea who she was. Thought she was great, and I said, "Hey, to be honest, I haven't heard of you." And I said, "And I've been to like, little fundraisers, and my wife knows a candidate running for mayor, so I'm like, in touch with everything." And I remember she said to me, "Well, where you been hiding? I've been spending hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to get your attention." And it just made me realize that, yeah, our system is completely broken when it comes to how we voters make decisions about candidates. We just make them subconsciously as we're walking around the streets or whatever. There is no place, there's no tool where we actually compare things side by side. There's no Yelp for candidates. So I started building this platform a while ago for my kids' school. And then I went to the National Student Parent Mock Election and the National Student Vote, and said, hey, I'll do it for free. There's an online version, which I'll show you in a sec. And they said, great. And we did it, and the kids loved it. And they compared all the candidates side by side. And then I thought, this is how everyone should be doing this. So this is to give you an idea of how it works. And you'll see your profile in there as a part of the demo here. Sorry about that. So essentially, the take is to get money out of elections, to increase voter engagement, to increase voter turnout. And then by doing that, this is a for-profit company where candidates will pay us directly, just the same way they would pay for online dating or other, freemium type of models. And there's hundreds of millions of dollars that candidates represent. So there's no shortage, of money if the candidates just pay one platform directly, which I'll get to. But anyway, essentially, pay for play democracy right now. This is where the voters get 99% of their information, right? Is that all of these, and I'd even make arguments for ones that don't have the dollar sign there, that it ends up being a pay for play as well. But it's because the voter guide has not changed in 100 years. And I'm sure you're aware, Gavin Newsom wasn't even in the voter guide in 2018, and he still won by a landslide. So candidates going in looking at this type of industry have all these places that they need to campaign. They need to radio and TV and billboards. If they want any chance at all, it's a huge, massive undertaking. And I just threw this in there because I don't think it's the candidate's fault, right? So you can see, I think it's supposed to be Mitt Romney here, is saying, there's got to be another way, right? And we say, yes, there is. Here's the platform. This will be the other way of doing it where we can kick money out of politics. So voter signs up for free. They type in their zip code and get their ballot. And this is what it looks like. So now they have an online version of their ballot. And they can see up here, it's Tuesday, November 8th is the election. And they can, click here and they can look at important dates leading up to the election, like when early voting starts or last day to register or those types of things. They can, find their polling place. They can type their address in there and they can get a nice map to their polling place. And then they can do my favorites and they can print out their ballot. So this also has other links to other places, but it's sort of a one-stop shop for everything voting. So they can then, scroll down and they can see city council race and school board race. They can go down to state propositions as well as local measures. They can even see pending ones, which I don't want to get into those weeds, but it's a way for you to click through and see the different propositions and measures that are pending and what they're about and who's sponsoring them and where you want to sign and those types of things. So we're back up here, and now as candidates start building profiles and becoming certified to be on the ballot, you'll see their profiles popping up like this. And as a voter, I can say this is great. And now I can, see all the candidates in all the races. Now, one big, plus here, and again, these numbers aren't accurate, and I've thrown names around and I've thrown parties around and all that just so that I don't look like I'm biased. I want to be totally nonpartisan. But as an example, let's say this candidate has spent $375,000 and this candidate has spent $500. It won't make a difference to me because I'm sitting right here and they're, right next to one another. And I want to learn about Mike Young. So I can go here, I can do a quick bio. And again, I know this information is not accurate. It's just an example. And I can look through and then I can say, this is great. Where does he stand on the issues? Et cetera. And I can scroll through and learn, all about this candidate. And then if I like this candidate, I can then click on the candidate. I can, vote for the candidate. They'll move into that first position. This will be kind of grayed out a little bit, so it's nice and prominent. And then now I can share that candidate on social media and say, hey, check this guy out. I think he's great. City council race, and then my friends and stuff will be able to see all the candidates in all the races. They'll be able to see all of the issues, compare them side by side, and then favorite them. And then as a candidate, you'll be able to see here, which is this little 33%. This will show how you're doing in the race. So you can now reach out to people, tell them to go to your Win My Vote profile, look at your issue statements, ask questions, do whatever, and then vote for you, favorite you if they like what you have to say, and then keep in mind all of these, issues and those types of things. Those are all done by you, right? You're creating this the same way you would create a web page or a LinkedIn profile. You can post your endorsements. You can do, everything that you need to do. And on this, I can now, go down to the next race. And I can look through all of the candidates and I can, again, do all of these same things. I'm going kind of quick here, but and then as far as the endorsements, you can see here that the candidate will post their endorsements. And that will be groups and organizations and individuals that have endorsed the candidate and the candidate wants to feature. I also have the opportunity of just seeing my trusted sources. So I can click onto that, and let's say if I want to add a bunch of trusted sources. And again, these are groups and organizations and individuals that I trust that have made endorsements. So they're here, and it's just similar to like, Facebook groups. I decide I want to, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and Sarah Silverman and the Sierra Club. But I also want to search for Moms Demand Action. I know that they're a group, and they do a lot of endorsement and they do a lot of research on candidates and issues and that type of thing. So I search for them and I see them, but before I add them as a favorite, I just want to click through to their page. Now, essentially, their page is a ballot, and they've gone through and they have the same type of ballot that I do. They go through the whole thing, they make all their favorites, and then they post it here as just their favorites. So I can see just the candidates that they have selected there. And I can go down and see the propositions and which way they're voting on those propositions. So now, let's say if I like Mark Cuban for president and I agree with these guys, I can click this and my ballot will be updated because Mark's on my ballot as well. I can even go as far as clicking all of it and saying I agree with Moms Demand Action on everything, and that's the way that I want to vote. And down here, you can see all these have changed from yeses and nos. So I say, well, except for that one, I want to change that one. So I have full control over my ballot at all times, and now I can add them there. I also want to add Sarah Smith, who's a friend of mine. That's great, and she does a lot of political stuff, so I want to know what she has to say as well, because I may go through and change a lot of my votes from the Moms Demand Action. So I'll go back to my ballot. Now I'm saying show only my trusted sources. So these are all the groups and organizations and individuals that I trust. I don't want to see everything, just the ones that I trust. And now I can just click straight through here and see a video and see what she has to say. Now keep in mind, she's just doing this at her house. She's doing a quick little video saying, hey, Tulsi Gabbard's great. You should vote for her. I worked with her, whatever it may be. And that's it. She uploads that and sends emails out to her friends that say, hey, select me as a trusted source. She doesn't have to spend a bunch of money or run commercials or ads or anything else. And this will be, everyone can see this that selects her as a trusted source. Same thing with Unite America. Same thing with Joe Rogan. And to give you an idea how easy it is, here's Joe Rogan's ballot, right? And he is Los Angeles, so all the state races are the same. So he's going to go through and, he's going to favorite Tulsi and he's going to put his video in there, or maybe he'll just embed it in here and hit publish, and that's it. And then he'll go on to, other races. So we're back here to my ballot, and I'm going to favorite Tulsi. And I don't feel like doing a endorsement right now, but just going to do that. And then I go back here, and then I am going to share that with some friends and say, hey, this is how I voted. I think you guys should, check Tulsi out. And my friend gets that, and he clicks, he clicks on the quick bio, and he, kind of learns about her, goes through her issues as well. Obviously, he needs to sign in before he does that, so he signs in with social media, and then he goes back to his ballot and he favorites her. And now he adds a bunch of trusted sources, and then he goes down to the one proposition that he's really interested in. That's Proposition 2 in California. Super interested in this, and this is, what motivates him. So he clicks on that, and he can watch a little explainer video, and then here are his trusted sources. And he can, scroll through those. And Ethan Behrman, which I think he's still on KGO, he can listen to exactly what Ethan Behrman has to say about that proposition. And he can say great, and he can listen to some trusted sources that are saying no. He wants to hear the other side. So he listens to the other side. Now, this right here are groups and organizations and individuals that have, have published a position on this proposition, but are not one of his trusted sources. So in other words, if the Nazi Party is against this, he doesn't want to see that, right? He wants to see only the groups and organizations that he trusts. But he's willing to say, you know what, I'm going to check this out. Sorry about my cursor disappears on my side. He says, I want to check who's out, who this is. Oh, okay, it's Eric Kroll. I'll add him, and I'll listen to what he has to say. And at the end of that, I'm going to go up here and vote, and I'm going to vote yes on that. And you know what? I'm even going to do my own little endorsement there, and maybe I'll put a meme or something in there, and then I'll publish. And then there's yes on Proposition 2 for him. So back to me here. I'm going to vote here, and then I'm going to do my favorites only and double check them that all looks good. And I'm going to find my polling place, and then I'm going to head over to the polling place. So it's a platform that does kind of everything that you need to do voting, and has all the links and connections to everything that you need to do concerning voting. As far as the business model, there's over 500,000 offices in the United States. Between primaries and general elections, call it 1 million candidates. I think it's going to be a lot more than that if they have a platform like this where they can create a profile, reach out to their friends, reach out to groups and organizations to get their endorsements, because everything can be done online. I think there'll be a lot more than 1 million, but just say 1 million, and then say it's $299 per election. So $299 to have your page and your profile and all the stuff that you need to do per election. So you see those numbers can add up real quickly. Would love to talk with you about it. And again, kind of apologize about the randomness of just reaching out and saying, hey, do you want to invest in this? I have talked with some investors, some regular VCs and that type of stuff. They don't get it. They ask questions like, well, isn't this against the law? I don't, is it okay to post people's votes? And can you really share your vote and all that? And I think that's been the major block on why no one in Silicon Valley's done anything like this. I think that there's this strange block when it comes to our elected officials that we, for some reason, we just think that we can't, do anything like this. I mean, that's been the biggest question that I've had. I compare it to TurboTax and say, look, you can do everything on TurboTax, but eventually you have to, the last step, you have to go file your taxes with the IRS. So same thing here. You can do everything from A to Y on Win My Vote. All of the vote sharing and the endorsements and all of that type of stuff. You can't vote. Yes, you have to, Z, that last step, you have to go down and actually vote with the elections department. You can't vote online. But there's no reason why we can't do everything else, online, just like we do everything else. Um, so I should show you. I know this video is way longer than you probably wanted to watch. Um, so here's the site. This is the site we did the National Student Parent Mock Election. So all these percentages are the same. I mean, are accurate. And then you can scroll down and you can see, all of the candidates. So, this was the guy who ran against Nancy Pelosi, and you can watch his video.
In California, only 2 candidates make it to the general election. In the race for Congress in California.
And you can see this is kind of the demo site. It's the old version. That new version that I was showing you in PowerPoint, we're in the process of building right now, and that's one of the reasons we're going out for some funding. Probably somewhere between 25,000 and 50,000 would finish everything, and we could actually launch and be generating revenue. I mean, that's how close we are. I've probably put about 150,000 of my own money into it, and then the developers have done some work that's not really accounted for on the product as well. But let me show you yours. So they can scroll down, and when they get down, I think yours is in here. I think it's 7, right? So this looks like this right here because I've left it open for all of the races, right? So it wouldn't normally be open like this. You would have your own race. You'd have your district selected early on as a voter, right? So you would just see District 7. But if you click on your profile here, you can watch your video.
Mike Young for District 7 Super.
And then I can favorite you here. Oh yeah, so it's saying that I have to be in that district. So I'll give you an example of the guts, a little bit of the site. So that happens when I sign up with my address or if I select 7 as my district. Just wait for that to update. And you'll see all those other districts are gone now. It's just District 7 and your favorited. There you go in the front. So that's how it works. Again, would love to talk with you. Let me know if you have a time. I can do a live demo for you or answer any questions that you may have about it. Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.